Alright, hey guys, here we have another beautiful National Ceiling Fan Day, September 18th, 2018. As most of you already know, today is geared towards putting those ceiling fans to good use, not relying so heavily on your air conditioning. Obviously, if you live in some of the southern states, it's going to be a little difficult, but turning the thermostat up a couple degrees helps a tremendous amount. I live up north, so my air conditioning's actually been off for several months. Not by choice, but I guess that puts me at a little bit of advantage there for energy savings. But yeah, so anyways, here in the master bedroom, as usual, we have the Casablanca Stealth in weathered brass. This has always been a real big hit. I had this up couple years ago, but it didn't have the right glass, so I wanted to change it out for something else. But since I eventually found the right glass, I decided to put it back up. But yeah, parents really love this fan. I love it. It goes so well with the room. Just a real nice finish. It's not quite antique brass or polished brass. I mean, it's either, a shiny antique brass or a dull polished brass, whichever you want to consider it. But yeah, I probably should have dusted these beforehand. I didn't even think about it. All the fans pretty much been on since, I don't know, April. So as you can imagine, they are all pretty dusty. There's with the bed set. Turn this on low. This usually stays on speed 3 or 4. I mean, it all depends. We had a point where we were having our power go out like pretty often, so it was on high for a week. Yeah, it's a really cool fan. Probably why Casablanca hasn't discontinued this yet. It's such a high seller. Alright, moving on into my sister's room. We have the 1999, I want to say, Casablanca Ventura in Snow White. Exactly as it was last, or no, I think I put the other blade back on because it was getting kind of, I don't know, not rough, but I wanted to just get it out of the way, so I put it back on the fan. Anyways, I mean, this has been kind of a heavily used fan. This actually stays on the higher speeds, usually between 4 and 6. Every now and then it'll be on like 2, but that's not very often. See if that makes a difference. Oh, I didn't even know there was a light bulb out. What about this? Because their drapes do make. Okay, that helps a little bit. But yeah, I really like this fan. I had thoughts of putting a 4 Seasons up in here, but this just, I don't know, it works so well in here. So I don't think I'm going to be taking this down anytime soon, unless by request, but even then, I don't see what the reasoning would be. Just got this desk for my sister, so it's kind of a what is it called? Shabby chic look. It's from like, I don't know, like 1983 or something. So it's pretty old. It's actually probably older than that, maybe 70s. But anyways, yeah. This stays on reverse, because it is a bunk bed, so it doesn't really do who's ever on bottom any good. So having it on reverse helps. There's usually a desk fan in here. I don't know where that went though. I haven't seen that in a while. Little Sanyo. So that is speed 1. I mean, it's kind of fast, but it's not too bad. Moving on. Ta-da! Yeah, I could not help myself but install this somewhere. This is a 1988, I want to say. Casablanca Panama 5 in black and chrome. Got this several months ago. and it's been up pretty much since I got it. So, kind of a disclaimer, the antique brass Panama that I did have in here, it had pretty much always been up here. Intermittently, I'd put other fans up, but for the most part, that's what I always had. I mean, it did technically go with my room better, but I had to put it up somewhere, and I figured my room was the best place. I had it up briefly with the Chrome K4B. I actually like that a little bit better, but this works pretty good. It was in pretty bad shape when I got it, but I think it cleaned up real nice. Really did. I put new arms on the light kit because they were pretty much toast. So, they're actually, they don't move. Over here in the window, now we have to go back to my sister's room. We have the Kenmore that was relabeled for Vornado. Picked this up, because we don't have air conditioning, so I had to get something for my room. And this has been working really well. I mean, this has been a workhorse. So they're all set up on a timer to turn off at like 10 o'clock, I think. Either 9 or 10 o'clock. They turn on at, I want to say 8 p.m. maybe. Yeah, they turn on at like 8 p.m. and turn off at like 10, I think. But I don't remember. But yeah, real good fan. It doesn't really have a huge range of speeds. It's basically high and higher. Definitely heavy though, and big and loud. Over here we have my 12-inch GE Vortelux that I restored. Not the best restoration job. The paint's a little bit off, and I need to still tack weld the cage. It's just zip tied for the moment because it is just a display. Up here we have my Casablanca clock. Picked that up at a antique store. That was just kind of a random occurrence. I was about to walk out and saw this, so obviously I had to go back for that. Yeah, this is probably gonna be staying up for a while unless I find a better spot to put it. Over here we have the Emerson. Another thing I restored, but probably not the greatest restoration job. Doesn't even have grease at the moment, or oil, so I don't really use it. I use the Vortex more, as it's, obviously by my bedside. Yeah, let's backtrack to my sister's room. So this is what they've been using, this GE. It's been repainted blue. I don't know if you can really tell though. Yeah, okay, so it is on. Where's the timer? Here it is. Oh, is it off? Okay. So yeah, they're all on timers. They all turn on and turn off at around the same time. But yeah, these are probably my favorite window fans. This one actually pivots. It's got a better range of speeds than the Vornado. It's a lot quieter. Let me go ahead and turn that back off. So I'll show the Vornado too. Keep calling it a Vornado. It's technically a Vornado, but it's kind of a Kenmore. So that is on the lower of the low speed. Once it warms up, it gets louder. Yep, there it goes. We have another Vortex blade from a fan I parted out. That was in really bad shape. Moving down the hallway, we have the bath and dressing room still. This actually I've been trying to keep up on dusting because it does get real dusty real quick, and I don't know why. everything else can stay on all year round and not get nearly as dusty as this does in like a couple months. I mean, it is a high traffic area, so I suppose that's why. So I do have it set to lower speed. Moving down the hallway into the kitchen. We do still have the Panama, and I keep saying I'll never change it, but I also said that about the antique brass Panama, and here it is. Or, you know, here we are with yet another fan in there. That'll probably actually be staying. This is a 1993 with the original control that it came with, ironically, and a Casablanca switch plate. I don't remember what that came from, but that's pretty cool. So this has been running in reverse actually because I think two of the blades are out of balance or something. So you either need to get a new set of blades or try balancing it better, but I haven't done so yet, so I've just been using reverse because it wobbles less that way. Been a real good kitchen fan though. I try to keep up with it as far as cleaning goes because it is in a kitchen. So it does get relatively greasy because we don't actually have an exhaust fan above the stove. So here we have yet another GE. This thing like barely fits in here. I mean, yeah, see, it's basically touching the sink. So this has been another workhorse. Try to keep the rest of the house cool, so it usually stays on medium. Again, on a timer. Or is it not? It actually might be on low. Yeah, it looks like it's on low. We've been leaving everything on lower speeds because obviously it's not really necessary at the moment to leave things on higher speeds because it is fairly cold outside at night. Over here, now while we're on the subject, here's my cool chandelier that I found at Habitat several months ago. Parents really like it. I love how it's actually got real walnut sides. I mean, it's so old, it's, you know, back in style. You know, they say history repeats itself, so. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Most people that come over actually think it's modern, which I think is kind of funny. Over here, we have the Lakewood. We labeled Cool Breeze for, I have no idea who, but I really like this fan. I mean, it goes real well in here. You know, it kind of matches the countertops, which matches the fan. I guess looking at it now, the fan doesn't match that well, but it works, so I'm going to leave it. But yeah, so this usually is sitting at the door while we're eating dinner on like low, and the grill helps diffuse air nicely, so it's not just solid breeze on one person. So that's really nice. And it has a long enough cord to reach all the way to that outlet over there, because there's not one behind it, unfortunately. Yeah, over here in the living room, we do still have the Venus. This has been a pretty solid runner too, as you can see by all the, you know, dust on it. One of my favorites. Over here we have another Lakewood Pencrest 100. Got this from another collector several months back who didn't want it, and I finally found a use for it. Again, another solid runner. So usually if anyone's in here, both fans will be on if it's fairly warm, but that doesn't happen too often. This actually gets used on mostly a high. Every now and then it'll be on a lower speed, but usually gets used on high if it's ever on. Then over the stairwell, look at the bath and dress room again. I installed a Saturn. I don't know why, but I decided to install the blades on the bottom. So you can kind of see that. So this is a well, this is kind of a combination of parts. This is a 19 87 fan that I got from Will. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit more. So this actually has been here for a while, but I decided to change some things up. So canopy and center tube came from one of the 1990 fans. Downright I got from Matt Cody because I didn't have a 18-inch polished brass one. So yeah, motor and blades were here as well as the center shade, but I did a little rearranging, so I kind of took the best of both fans. I would have done all 1990, but they're really tarnished, so I decided not to. You can kind of tell by the canopy. Even the down one's a little tarnished, but that's not from the same fan. I just really love how it looks in here. I think it looks really nice. Kind of see that. So yeah, I kind of wanted to have two modern Casablanca, so that's what I did here. So the California Zephyr was on W32 because I didn't have any W12s and because that board that it came with was toast. But I eventually got around to getting some W12s. I actually got 4 for like $50. 2 of them are toast, but for $25 for 2 working ones, I'm not going to complain. So usually stays on the lowest light level. When we have company over, we turn it up, but usually it's just kind of like a night light over the stairwell. Over here on my shelf, we have I believe a Manning bone, or maybe it's an Eskimo. I don't remember. I think it's a Manning Bowman though, or whatever the brand is. I actually don't remember. It's something like that. I don't know how long the blade brackets are gonna stay like this. I might throw them back up on top like they're supposed to be. Right now, there's just I think 2 washers between the blade and the blade bracket in the middle on each blade, so it doesn't crush them. Moving down. In the laundry room, we have this little 36 or 29-inch Northwind. This has been in here for a while, but it doesn't get used as much as I thought it would. I took a fan out of here. I don't even remember what fan it was, but I took some fan out of here. My mom complained because I didn't have a fan in here, and I put one back up unless she never used it, so I don't know. But it is a pretty powerful fan, and it really should get used more as hot as it gets in here. It's getting upwards. It's like 85 degrees, even with the AC on. Okay, right now, just on motion sensor. Yeah, very nice. Don't think I'm missing anything. Out here in the garage. Hey, Scouty. I decided to take down the tats and put some antiques up. So I don't remember why this decision came over me, but I'm really glad I went with it because it looks pretty cool. So starting on this side, we have the somewhere between 1906 and 1909 or 1912, somewhere around there. Hunter Turk. I don't know the exact year. The original tag was removed when this was restored, and never made it back on the fan, evidently. I bought the motor off of Facebook. and just kind of started piecing it together from there. Bought the canopy off eBay, got the blades from Adrian. I think I got a blade bracket from him too, because one of the blade brackets had broken at some point. When it was rewelded with too much pitch, so I had to get a different one. One of these blades isn't the same as the others. This one's like, I don't even know what kind of blade that is. Teak maybe. The other three are maple, so they're a little lighter. Then over here we have the 1935 Emerson round nose. It is missing obviously a few parts. It doesn't have the canopy. This one would have come with a light globe, as it has the indentations for a snap switch on top of the motor. For those of you that know antiques, this is an earlier one, obviously by the year, but the blade brackets are cast iron as opposed to the stamped steel of the later models. Yeah, I still need to get the light fitter. And while we're on the subject of this, this originally had, obviously had the light fitter, but the reason I never got around to making a video of this is I actually just got finished restoring it. So the central shaft had a break in it, so I had to figure out a way to re-weld it. So got that done. The oil cup still has a break in it, so hopefully Pete, who I got this from, has those parts. If not, then I'm gonna have to get a new oil cup. Otherwise I can just JB weld those pieces back on and it'll still work fine. Needs a new thrust bearing, as that one is totally worn. Not only are the bearings pitted, but the bearing chases are pitted pretty bad too. I'm guessing at one point water got in there and kind of locked up. But yeah, it's not the quietest thing. So these are the controls. This is for the round nose. I'm just gonna go a little slower. So the one on the right controls the fan on the left, and the one on the left controls the fan on the right. The right one has a low speed trim, but this one does not, so you get a different control for that. Got the rope light on. Got this cool clock. Shears clock. Doesn't work though. I don't know why, and I haven't taken it anywhere to have it looked at, but I don't really care. Got a stealth in that box. My license plate collection, mostly Illinois stuff, but I got a couple from North Carolina from my grandpa. Got those from an antique store and a couple from a friend. So yeah, these are pretty cool fans. This is actually a 56-inch fan. However, this is a 52-inch. This is a little bit less powerful, but I don't think because of the shorter size. I think this is just a more powerful motor. This definitely has a lot more torque than the 1.9 amp Turk. This is a 2.3 amp, I want to say, motor. Over here we have one of these stupid can arms, but this isn't what I care about. It's this. Got my little round nose up. Lights on. So if you remember the original video, this would barely start on low, and the bearing cushions, I'll call it, I mean, it's, you know, it's like a little felt washer that goes on the top and bottom of the bearings. Had, I don't know if it had been moved at one point or if it had been like that from the factory, but since it was deformed, after I tried using it how it was supposed to be used, it sat like on an angle, so it wasn't sitting on the shaft quite right. So it would barely start on low, and sometimes it would even barely start on high. But now I've got it running well. Got it on this control. I forget who makes this, but there's a Pelco on the front of it. But yeah, that's the lowest speed. So it's definitely has a nice aesthetic low. Actually, when I was redoing this, putting the new washer in, I reversed the low and medium, so low comes first and then high, so I need to redo that. Also got this cool collection up here of antique fans. That was really fun. So over here we have a Hunter Century model CF10. That was a eBay, well actually most of these were eBay, but my dad bought that for me several months ago. I think he got that for my birthday. I restored it. I used Hunter Green for paint. Came out really nice, but I can't use it as the motor cover is broken. We have this Kenmore. Cleaned that up for Dan, and then kind of forgot about it, so it just sits up there. I still need to rewire it, but it is working much better. Here we have an Avalon blade behind the Emerson Seabreeze. This is one of my favorite Emersons because of the ornate base, Emerson Junior blade and cage. Well, it's not technically a Junior blade because it's aluminum as opposed to brass. I think the Juniors use brass blades. Over here we have a Vornado. I can't remember what model, but it's a little tiny Vornado. It's the smallest model they ever made. Over here we have a Handy Breeze, manufactured here in Chicago. Yeah, so I always wanted to get one of these. I wish I could get a freshener to fit up here, but they never made one this small. So from the bottom, or from the top of the shelf to the ceiling is only like 14.5 inches. Next we have this old Century. I didn't have to do much work to this, although I did have to redo the cage. The blades would have originally been black as well, but since I was stripping it, I decided to leave it, and I actually really like the results. Over here we have this GE, I think these are like a standard model or whatever. I found that in an antique store, so that was actually the model I was looking for. I wanted the brown one, so pretty cool. I found that. Next we have this Emerson, which is 6250-F, I want to say. This is one of my, like I was saying with the Seabreeze, that's, one of my top 10 Emersons, but this is probably, as far as portable scale, one of, pretty much my number one pick. Proportionately, these look great, and they're just excellent fans. I mean, I bought this as a non-working fan, and all I needed was a plug at the end of the cord, and it works amazingly. Speaking of good running fans, we have another GE Vorlex, another eBay find. Again, real simple fix. The screw that screws into the gearbox was missing, and I don't have any reverse threaded screws, so it is technically a non-working fan, but it'll work just fine once I get that. So this shelf I was originally going to paint black, and decided to stain it like a dark walnut, or I don't remember what finish it was. And I'm glad I did, and I think it looks really nice like this. It matches the Emerson real nice. It's the same finish I used on the other round nose blades. Have it strung up there with some drop ceiling grid screws and cable, and it seems to work just fine. I really like the results. Got this Pepsi thing for all my stuff. Hung sideways on the shelf, and it just works real well. Here's the Turk blade. Actually grinded it down, and it looks halfway decent, but it's too much pitch on that. Here's the workbench area. Kind of a mess, but it works for what I need it to do. Got the design house still up. Yeah, I think that covers everything. A little bit longer of a video than I was hoping for, but definitely covered everything. Anyways, Those are the ceiling fans in my house. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.